As the 21st century wears on, many things are being re-examined. For example, consumerism. Instead of just buying things and throwing them away, many people are recycling, reusing, upcycling, and more. To talk about this and more with me, I have Matouš Pinkava, the CEO of a company here in Prague called, well, I'll let him pronounce it. It means don't throw it away. Hello, Matouš. Welcome.
Hello, Derek. Thank you for the introduction. And it is called nevyhazujto.
That's what it's called, yes. I'd like to thank Mr. Pinkava for talking to me today and everybody out there for listening. A city is much more than just a collection of buildings. It's a location, it's a history, it's a culture, it's ideas and ideals, and a city is also, most importantly, the people in it. This is Prague Times, the podcast that takes a look at the city of Prague in the Czech Republic. With more than 1,000 years of history, there's a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the past of Prague, but we'll also talk about the city as it is today, future plans for the city, and much more. It's Prague then, Prague now, and Prague later. And this is Prague Times. Your company is a reuse company. It's not recycling exactly. It's part of this whole circular economy business. How did it get started? Who started it? Why did they start it?
It was an idea of my cousin, basically, who had a garage full of stuff. It was loaded by old bicycles, furniture and stuff like that. So one day he just decided he wants to do something about it, but he just didn't want to throw it away. So he, with his friend, just came up with this idea to start up a website where people can offer this kind of things for free to others. So this is how it started.
I think it started off mainly for furniture and big stuff. But now, of course, I was just on the website today and it has there's a whole bunch of stuff on there. And now people can say, all right, I've got like these old office chairs. I don't want to throw them in the landfill. I don't want to leave them on the street. And we'll talk about why that's a bad idea later. But also, if I'm looking for something, I can put out there, hi, I'd like this. And somehow everybody finds each other.
Exactly. You can literally offer anything there for free. The only restriction is that it needs to abide the law. You cannot offer
children. You can't get rid of your children.
No drugs, no alcohol and stuff like that.
Really, no alcohol? That's interesting. So, I mean, because that's my first thing I think of is how are people going to shake this? How are they going to find a way to sneak in, actually, I'm selling products, but how do you prevent them from doing that?
They do. Unfortunately, they do it all the time. And we check the website, the portal every day, a couple of times a day. And we just go through the items and we just delete anything which is against the laws.
And so when people put things on here, it has to be, I noticed something on the website saying something like it has to be ready for transport. So like if it's a sofa, how does that work? Do I have to disassemble the sofa? Do I have to put in the listing, you're going to need 2 people?
Yeah, the more details you add, the better. You just, when you have a sofa, you want to get rid of it. So you just add as many details as, the more details, the better. Then when somebody is interested in the sofa, he can text you a message through our website. And you just decide when he's coming, and if it's ready for a normal car, or if you tell him if he should bring a big car or
right. Yeah. Hire a man with a van.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say it's a sofa. That sounds great, and I get there and it is not as advertised. What do I do then? What's my recourse as a user of the site? What happens?
You can just walk away. You can tell the person who was offering the sofa that it was not polite to advert something and then bring something totally else. And you can always email us to our email and tell us that this user was offering this, but you had this bad experience. And then we check on it, and if we think you're right, and if there are more complaints against this kind of this user, we can always block his account.
Or her. Women can also be jerks, just to be fair. So when did the website actually start? When did the web portal go online?
Yeah, it started in late 2010.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was the idea of my cousin 10 years ago, and there were several versions of the portal. Now it's like the third version, and it's really modern software. At the beginning, it was totally something totally different. You know, you had to transfer the picture of the stuff from your camera through the USB to your computer, then upload it. Now it's of course we have an application, and you can run it on any device. You just take a picture with your mobile phone, and literally in a few seconds you can advert the thing.
And when did you create the apps, the mobile apps?
Yeah, it was with the last version in 2018. Yeah.
You're a private company, but you're working with the city, or the city's approved you, or it's all part of this City of Prague sort of green initiatives and their goal for being carbon neutral by 2050. How did that all happen? Because you started off as a private company, and what? Did the city then say, hey, we want to partner with you, or what happened?
Yeah, basically our goal is to share this idea of not throwing away, of giving away instead of throwing away. And we are trying to find as many ways as we can. And with this new version of the software, we knew it's got a big potential. And what we do now is we collaborate with more cities, not just Prague. And what we do is we create a subdomain only for the city. Only for the citizens of the city, where there are no advertisements. Not that there are no items for offering for free, but no ads,
no banner ads,
no.
That's good, because those drive me nuts.
Because we are also trying some ways of income, and this is how we attract more people to use it, and it's the cooperation with the cities. As I said, we create the subdomain for them. We design it according to the city. There are the items from the city and around, and the city pays us some monthly fee for us, so we can take care of administration. And we provide them with documentation, with presentation, they can communicate with their citizens, with our materials. Yeah.
So you help them out, like, hey, here's how you spread the word, and all this.
But this is just one part of the cooperation with Prague, and we have quite a new project going on, which I'm really into it, and I would like to speak about it as well.
Absolutely. Tell us what's happening here in Prague.
Last year in November, the project of reuse points just started in collection yards in Prague. In 3 of them, there are many more collection yards in Prague, but in 3 of them, you can now give things for free instead of throwing them away.
So I bring them to, because I know one's out in Prague, because 2 of them are way the hell out there. Like one's in Prague 20, and one's in Prague, 138. And one I think is in Vysočany or something. So it's like I'm going to what in America we call the dump. Right? I'm taking it to the dump. But instead of doing that, I go here and I can drop it off there. But the burden of getting the stuff to the point is on me.
Yes. It's for people who don't like to communicate online with the person,
For shy people.
As well.
And technophobes.
And also for people who have many items, and it takes sometimes to upload it online, and some people don't want to do that, and people in the Czech Republic, or at least in Prague, they use the collection yard to dump very often. They sometimes they just decide to get rid of all stuff in their garage and just
or their
go to
chata.
dump. Yeah. They either move it to chata from the flat, or they from chata to the dump. There are items which are very valuable, and it's really shame to get rid of all these really good stuff.
Right, like
and
that's totally
dump them.
usable. That chair is a good
Totally.
chair. It's just, I get it. You don't want it anymore. You don't have space for it. Understandable. And yeah, it can be a pain in the neck too. Like I know on Facebook, for example, there are a couple of, there's Prague Buy Sell Trade, and then there's an alternate version, which I think is called almost exactly the same thing. And so sometimes you can advertise that way, but this is really just a catch-all portal for anybody to use to get rid of really anything.
Yeah.
Here's an old trombone. Have it.
Yeah. So what happens at the reuse points? You just go there, and the guys at the reuse point, they take pictures of the stuff you bring in, and they just upload it to the portal, and anybody can view it and reserve it and go.
And
to
so the stuff
collection yard.
stays there.
It stays there. For some time, and people go there and get it from there and save it. This is how it stays in their circulation. And
I thought I read something too on the website about initially you'll offer it to charities and things like that first.
That is true. Like for first 14 days, it is offered only to our partners from charities or from social parts of the Prague municipalities. I don't know how it's called, but each part of Prague has its own office.
Yeah, the sociální úřad, basically.
We offer things.
Americans will have no idea what we're talking about because America doesn't really do this.
So basically the idea is to offer it primarily to people in need. But if those charities are not interested in these items, which can happen because they don't have so much time to go to the collection yard and pick the preferable stuff for them. So if nobody is interested in it, anybody can go there.
Right. Now I must think that some things must, just like nobody wants it. You know, this giant chair has been here for 3 months. I mean, is there a time limit on this? And then what do? You just like tear it apart or sell it for scrap? Or
No.
Because you don't want to throw it in the landfill.
Well, they do.
Oh, they do. Huh?
Well, not in the landfill, but it's at the collection yard. So this is really practical because if nobody wants it even for free, then it's ready to.
Goodbye, sailor. Goodbye, soldier. It was nice knowing you. But at least it gives these items a second chance because we've become such a consumer focused society, and especially post Velvet Revolution, and Czechs have really taken to this. They like their stuff. They, as we said, everybody or practically everybody has a chata, which could be anything from a tiny little shack up in the woods someplace to a 7-bedroom house, any of these, and people spend their weekends there all summer long, and in the spring and in the autumn as well. So that's a lot of stuff to have. And then you go, ooh, but I want to keep up with the Joneses, and I want to have more new stuff, or this chair finally broke and it's time for me. What about things that are broken? What about that? Like if something is broken, you can still put it up. I saw some things of, this is broken, but maybe somebody wants it.
Exactly. If you don't lie about it, if you say, look, this is broken laptop or this is broken TV, there are people who want it. Like they just do crazy stuff with electronics, and any electronics is gone from the portal in minutes. Literally.
Really?
It's really they people do like art with it, and they various stuff. So don't be shy to upload anything to the portal. You will be surprised what items can find a new user or new owner. You want them to give them a second chance. It's a really good feeling. I use it on a daily basis, and
really,
I do. Well, not every day, but
I was going to say you must have a lot of chairs.
I don't have so much stuff, but yeah.
The EU in March last year sort of came out with their circular economy guidelines, this whole idea, and that's what this is part of, this circular economy. Don't just buy stuff and then throw it away. Buy stuff and sure, yeah, buy stuff. We need you to buy stuff or else the economy will, as we know from lockdown, grind to a halt. But some people can't afford to buy new stuff, or for whatever reason they won't buy new stuff. So this is a chance to keep this stuff in circulation as long as possible. Because conceivably, I could get something from your website that's used, use it, then replace it, put it back on the website. I mean, you know, that chair could last. I know people say we have disposable things now, but the fact is, in decent repair, a chair can last for 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Even IKEA.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you mentioned the circular economy, and there are many projects. Prague is getting into this thing of circular economy, and there are a couple of projects which we are going to talk about. Probably we are not the only ones who is somehow taking care of the circular economy here in Prague. For example, last year there was a launch of a project called Furniture Bank.
In Prague 4.
It was all over the media, and it's a really nice project. People just can bring their old furniture and they store it there, but they give it to the people in need. It's not like us. It's not like for everybody. You really need to prove that you are somehow
right. I really need a chair. I really can't afford one.
Then there is a brand new project which I'm really interested in, and I'm curious about it. It's nothing less than a reuse market.
Oh.
In Holešovice.
At the Tržnice?
Yeah, in Hall 35.
Ah.
It's very ambitious project, and it should be a place for reuse generally, and you can buy reused items. You can bring your old things in there, and there is going to be workshops, and it's probably going to be big. So I'm really looking forward to visit this place.
Now, how is that different than a flea market?
As I see the difference between flea markets and reuse centers, the reuse center gives the items a bit of added value. They just take it for free. It's this is the condition. They don't buy stuff. They just it's based on donations. They clean it, rub it, repair it, and then they sell it. You know, they're spending a lot of time with cleaning and with selling it. So it's it's a store. It's basically a store. It looks nice. It's like higher end than flea market when anybody just brings a car and sells stuff from their garage.
Sure. And then the profits that they make, obviously a good deal of that money that they make from the sales is going to go into upkeep and paying the experts to do this and renting the space and electricity and all this. But there might, if it takes off, there might be some left over. Are they doing it as a for-profit business? Are they going to donate some or all of the rest of the money left over to charities?
No, all of the reuse centers I know, they offer it all. They give it to charities.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the funny thing is, as I mentioned, we have these in America. They have them in other places. Flea markets have been around for, honestly, hundreds of years, or a form of flea market. And yet we're doing it again. It's almost like we've rediscovered this thing of, hey, we should probably reuse some of this stuff. It's ridiculous that we keep filling up, holes in the ground with chairs and dishwashers and skateboards and things like this. It seems preposterous that this is what we're doing. At the risk of sounding glib, isn't it almost just kind of a rebranding of old ideas?
Partly yes. Partly yes. Partly it was, people used to do this kind of thing. So rebranding is actually quite a good term for it, because we're not doing anything new. We're just trying to motivate people to, to do it again, or maybe young people they didn't know about it before.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
and
what you're commoditizing is convenience to encourage more people to do it.
And now there are new motivations. I think it's quite old habit to reuse stuff. But now we have new motivation, for example, with the climate change. More and more people try to do something about it, and they try to somehow be more environmentally friendly, and this is partly it.
This is another way for people to contribute to that effort.
Yeah. Unfortunately, still the majority of people, they just with their stuff they put it into garbage, and they don't even know what happens afterward. It's done. It's done for them. They buy something, it's broken. They get rid of it, they put it into garbage bin, and they don't know what is the story behind it. They don't see all the process of collecting it or getting rid of it or dumping it.
Or how some things actually degrade,
I think it is really important to think about it even before I buy something. Question yourself, do I need it? The answer is yes. So I choose something that will last, preferably for a long time. So I invest a bit more money so it can be repairable. It can last for some time. If it's not repairable, if it's really I don't want it anymore, give yourself a question like, how should I get rid of it, and what is the best way? What happens afterward? And so do I really need to throw it away? Well, maybe not. Maybe I upload it on a similar website on Nevyhazujto, and let's see. If nobody wants it, or if it's not for offering,
then it's just going to get thrown in the dump anyway.
Yeah, but still, you can recycle at least part of the items. Or I think it is useful to think in the big picture with our consumption. Yeah,
for sure. Recently the EU had their green hackathon, which is when people try and they find a problem and then they try and create some kind of usually an app to solve it. And a Czech team won for an app that basically shares information on how to repair, reuse, and share IKEA furniture specifically. So you have initiatives like this as well. Like, hey, just because it was cheap doesn't mean it's garbage, and it can be reused.
That is totally true. Yeah, I agree. What is also difficult for us, for consumers, is this, ever-present advertisement and, the greenwashing which is going on.
Oh, yeah.
You buy something in a goodwill that it's biodegradable, but then you find out it's not.
It's not.
It's really difficult for a consumer to know everything and to be fully aware of how long the item will last, what it's made of, and what is the full life cycle of it. So it's really complicated. Yeah, it is.
Because, some years ago, a friend of mine said, the Czechs recycle more per capita than anybody else in Europe. Well, I just looked at the statistics, and that is not true. We recycle about a third of our household waste. But what was interesting is that the Czech Republic has the third lowest production of household waste. The EU average is something like 455 kilos per person per year, which is an amazing amount of garbage. That's 900 pounds. But the Czechs are down around 350. Only 2 other countries have less than we do. So we actually aren't producing as much junk.
That's good news. I didn't know about it.
I wonder how that can possibly be. I mean, is it because of things like this? Is it because we do recycle a lot? I mean, the recycling bin just down the street here is full. Every time I go, oh, well, it's full now.
Also, we need to differentiate between recycling and separating. Separation and recycling is not the same thing, So maybe you were looking into stats of recycling, what is actually recycled. And we Czechs are really good in separating. So maybe your friend was speaking about separation of the...
Because not everything you stick in there gets recycled.
No, about half of the yellow container gets recycled.
In the recycling industry, they have a term wishcycling, which is when people put things in the recycling because they wish that it was recyclable, but it's not.
Wishcycling is one thing, and then there is a problem of low demand for the recycling material, which as a consumer or as a person, I can put plastic materials in the yellow bin, and I'm doing it right, it's totally recyclable, but nobody wants it, you know. There are different type of plastics. So basically the PET is the type of material which is the good motivation for the recycling companies to get the content of the yellow bins.
Right.
Because others are not that valuable and the demand is not that high.
And then of course there's this concept of upcycling.
Mm-hmm. Upcycling. I don't know which is if there is a definition of it, but I can give an example probably. So you have books you don't need anymore, and you create a piece of art of it, or you create some holder of knife. I saw a nice knife holder made out of books.
Cool.
So
that's cool.
You take an old wheelbarrow and you create something totally different with it. So you're not recycling it because it's not reused again the same way, but you are upcycling it to use it in a different way,
and often a more valuable way.
It should be more valuable, or if it's less valuable, you can also call it downcycling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take this really nice chandelier and I'm gonna use it for gravel on my in my chata yard.
Yeah.
Downcycling. And what's interesting to me is, you hear people complain all the time about like, this new technology is taking away jobs. But all of these things are also creating new jobs. This is a new thing. You could make a living being an upcycler if you had to. Yeah, and
People do that. I was doing a research about upcycling because our new project is going to be an upcycling portal, actually. So, but it's a secret news. But there are a lot of creative people who do really nice work from old stuff and modern, I would think. And people now, they sell it via Facebook. They sell it, and we just have the idea of putting them together, help them with their marketing, and help them to sell their items.
So we're talking about this really on the personal level, and you mentioned that you also work with the cities, but you also, there are 3 layers to this: individuals, citizens, companies, and then municipalities, and possibly even larger counties or what have you. How does it work for a company?
So for a company, we have a brand new solutions for waste prevention, and we provide it as a service for the company. And we are aiming to partner with big companies. And what we basically do is that we create a portal only for the company and its employees. And there are different activities which can be done on this portal. It's the donation stuff, as we were talking about, giving it for free, so they can give things for free to their colleagues, but they can also sell old items if they don't want to donate it. So it's the reusing, so that this is the reuse. They can swap things because it's more and more modern, and some people like to exchange, and so this is another things. And also we motivate the workers or the employees to sell their upcycled items. So because maybe they don't want to make a living of it, but it's their hobby and they're shy to offer it to anybody in the world. So they offer it to a colleague for some amount. Yeah. Actually, this is called Goodooga or Onduga for companies, because it's one portal with different layers into it. So this is how it's called. And we don't offer only the portal itself. We are doing some kind of workshops with the employees, and we have presentation about waste prevention, because the idea is not to give them the portal and that's it. the idea is to really motivate them and make them think about reusing and about this topic.
Well, that's why I think it's quite nice. So the tagline you have for the company Goodooga is solutions for waste prevention, and that's a very interesting. It's that mind shift. Prevent things from becoming waste in the first place.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the ultimate goal here? What would you like to see the world be in 50 years? Would you like this this would be part of how we think about things? I bought a sofa, and when I purchase it, I'm already thinking its life beyond its time with me.
I think you said it just right, and it's about the mindset. And our ultimate goal is to be part of this change of mindset and help people with this change in mindset. And as you mentioned, I hope that solution number one will not longer be go to the garbage bin and just
right. That should be the last thing we do.
Yeah.
Well, I've tried everything else. I guess it's just going to go in the trash.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know that there are some weirdly stubborn people out there, skeptics, and just kind of honestly selfish people. And I don't know what their motivations are, but there are people who are like, no, it's mine, and I bought it, and this is stupid, and I don't want to. And I just think this is all hippy-dippy, granola-eating garbage. You know, what would you say to those people? Why should they start thinking like this? Why should they get involved?
To those people, I'm just saying you are right. You have 100% right to do with your things whatever you want to. And if this is how you think, we can have a chat. We can talk about it. But I'm not telling you go to our website and do it. I'm not using force.
Right. It's not a religion.
No.
Yeah, we're not trying to convert you. Except we are trying to convert a little bit. It's like things don't become invisible or go away just because I close my eyes. It's still there. And this, I think, is for me, that's my takeaway from this conversation is even when you're buying something, start thinking of 30 years from now, I'm not going to be using that couch in 30 years, but it's going to be someplace. Yep. Where's that going to be? And do you think that we'll see even manufacturers start to get, I mean, maybe that would be the next step is, okay, now we've got things down at the consumer level. We've got companies, we've got people, we've got municipalities, we've got counties, even on the federal level or international level. The next step, I would think, would be manufacturers.
No, this is already going on. There are some laws from European Union that manufacturers have to create stuff that will be repairable at least for 10 years. Or there are trends to, get back to normal, I would say, and stop with the manufacturing items that will break down just after 2 years after they run out of warranty. So
right, because it's not like when we started, the plastics boom and all this in the 60s. It's not like the manufacturers were sitting around going, "We know that this is going to cause problems down the line, but we just don't care." They didn't know. They're like, "I don't know. Looks great. Let's make a bucket out of plastic. Let's make 1 million buckets." Oh, it turns out that when that breaks and people throw it away, it becomes a problem. Oops.
Yeah. We realize it now. We didn't realize it back in the days. We have now maybe solutions for plastic. Maybe we don't have the right solution yet, but it's a process, and we're learning. And manufacturers try to make money, and that's totally legitimate, and it's good way to go. And I hope that they will make more money if they manufacture something that will not break down, that they will break down. But it's a slow process, but I see positive changes going on.
So a number of initiatives and a number of levels in order to help people extend the life of the items that they purchase, be it something even as simple as silverware, forks, spoons, knives, all the way up to, wall units and lamps and beds and couches and wheelbarrows and all the rest. There's nothing that we have that we can't find another use for, or if we can't, somebody else can. And Mr. Pinkava from Goodooga and reuseto.
And nevyhazujto.
Yes, thank you. Who's one of the people who is helping bring this stuff to the forefront in people's minds, in the minds of the people who run cities, and even in the minds of companies and someday manufacturers as well, creating a whole new concept of consumerism.
Wow. Thank you.
It sounds very important when you say it that way.
I feel good now.
Yeah, right. I'd like to thank Mr. Pinkava for talking to me today. Thank you, sir. Very super interesting stuff.
Thank you very much for a very nice conversation, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody out there, for listening. Please don't forget that you can check the episode notes for links to these companies and these initiatives and a whole bunch of other stuff. Thank you for listening to this episode of Prague Times. If you liked this episode, be sure to like it or share it and tell your friends. Check us out on all of our social media platforms for extra goodies as well. Until next time, this has been Prague Times.